One thing that reminds me of the lack of Obama on the ballot, 2010. That's when the Republicans for the first time took over the House of Representatives. So the question is, what can we expect? Hillary Clinton is going to be a candidate for 2016. Be the first woman. She ran against President Obama in 2008, was unsuccessful, but now she's been the Secretary of State. She's been the senator from the state of New York, this great state, and a very powerful person. So what can we expect for 2016? Barack Obama is not on the ballot. What does that mean for turnout? What does it mean particularly for the African community from your point of view, Chris?
Well, the big thing to get into the heads of your own head and the heads of people that you disagree with on the right is that President Obama is President of the United States and will be President for almost 3 more years. 3 more years. It's not over. It's just roughly past the halftime. We got to get that into our heads. There's sort of a fading going on. A sense of all that's gone or it's almost over. 3 more years. It's really important. And the problem the president has had is, and maybe if he were a genius, a better politician, I don't know. But from the day he got in, he faced a wall of opposition. And they call it scorched earth. Destroy everything so nobody gets nothing. It wasn't a positive program. It was Mitch McConnell, it was Newt Gingrich, and these guys meeting almost like during the Civil War when Lincoln was coming to town. They were meeting as he came to take the oath. And their goal was this: stop this guy in his tracks. So whatever else, the president's not a Superman. We know that. We know he can be aloof. We know that. We can know a lot of things about him. He's not some glad-handing, backslapping pal. Now maybe he ought to be more like Bill Clinton. Who knows? We're all what we are. But what I know about the opposition he's faced is it's been simple, direct, and negative. So you got to get ahead. So 3 more years. This election coming up in November is going to be a tough one for the progressives. It's just going to be tough because there's a negative intensity out there on the right. They really hate. They know how to do that. They're really good at hating. And you don't have to be complicated about hating. It's a simple message. Screw this guy. Hurt him. Vote against him. Vote straight against him. So that's a tough message to go across with a little more nuanced progressive point of view, which is, sure, we'd like to work together. You know, I looked at the poll we just showed. Democrats want to work together with the other side. They want to find common ground. They wanted to do that with stimulus and getting us back from the hell the Democrats inherited in 2009. Everybody forgets the hell that Obama walked in through. That economy going down the hole, just going down. He had to stop it with the stimulus plan. It could have been a better stimulus plan. Republicans wouldn't help him. It could have been a better health care program. They wouldn't help him. And so what happened was they said how imperfect you are, having made sure he was imperfect. And so it's going to be a tough haul. Hillary Clinton has a great strength, and that is women my age really believe. They've taught me. Our time has come. And so that's a big, big, big factor. Women are most of the voters. They care about health, education, of course. They care about social issues and sex issues, if you will. But mainly it's about working issues. Minimum wage, unemployment, education for their kids, health, and Social Security for their parents, because women do take the primary responsibility in our society. It's very traditional. They know what shots the kids have had. They know what the teachers' names are. They know what the classmates' names are, and the guy's usually out to lunch. And that's just a fact. And so when they're looking at these issues, they're probably looking at Hillary. So it's going to be an interesting race. What I'm afraid of, just to end quickly, what I'm afraid of is we're going to get another divided government. And I can see Secretary Clinton coming in with 54%. I can see her doing well. 66% of the people said in the recent poll they can see voting for her. That's a lot. That's a big ceiling, a high ceiling. But I also see that the hatred on the right hanging in there, just hanging, bad feeling they got it. And all this, oh, we like the Clintons more than we like the Obamas here, right, until the time comes. And then until they're reminding themselves, oh, we hate the Clintons too. So it's going to be a very divided. We got to learn how to work with each other. We got to find, and this is maybe the Christian message here, I don't know, but there has got to be a way to break through that wall of opposition. I don't know what it is, but their hatred of this president is profound. And some of it's ethnic, we know that. I just know it is. Anyway, so I think it's going to be a tough time. Professor, I think the challenge is going to be to find the great leaders on the progressive and the progressive center side and on the center right who can talk. Just remember, the Civil Rights Bill, we got to remind ourselves, was passed by almost all the Republican senators voted for the Civil Rights Bill. All but 6, guys like Goldwater. But all the rest, Dirksen, all those guys, men at the time, voted all for Bill McCullough, a hero in the Middle West. It's an inspiring story of how Republicans, the old kind of Republicans, the Rockefeller Republicans, Eisenhower Republicans, we're going now, maybe. We're civil rights people. They were the party of Lincoln still, through the 60s, till they went with their Southern strategy of picking up all the Dixiecrats. And that's what their plan is. The Southern strategy, it's still there. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. I thought I heard Chris say the Obamas, which makes me wonder, what are we going to do about Michelle Obama? She's not running for office. She would be a great president. How many people think Michelle Obama should run for president of the United States of America? I just asked a question, Michelle. I just want to be clear, right? Before I go to Maria Teresa Kumar, I wanted to first acknowledge a person in this audience who has been at every major civil rights, civil justice, racial justice event in this city and around the country. And she is the First Lady of New York. And that is our queen of all queens, Hazel Dukes. Hazel Dukes, stand up for She's here. She has been with us in NAACP, making sure that we're doing it right. Let me ask Maria Teresa Kumar first to talk about the Voto Latino. It's very interesting. Latinos came out in 2008. They came out in 2012. The question is, with the whole issue now of what's going to happen with the goal of trying to make sure that immigration is passed. Everybody's been talking about it, nobody's done it. What do you think is the views of Latinos and Latinas right now about voting, and whether or not they are convinced that we're going to support the whole idea of an immigration law?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here today, and I want to thank particularly Reverend Sharpton for convening such incredible energy. And I think that that's the energy that we need to take into our neighborhoods, to make sure that we are door knocking, we're having these conversations, whether it's a beauty shop, the coffee shop, at churches, because what you're saying, Dr. Ogletree, is absolutely right. The 2012 elections is going to be very much about something that's personal, and it's a personal agenda. And yes, as Chris mentioned, it's about the president, but it's also about our livelihoods. When you look at Paul Ryan and his budget, whatever the Republicans at this moment want to say, when they say that it's not personal, look at his budget. The budget is a testament of what you prioritize as a government and as a people. And the fact that he is going after Medicare, he's going after SSI, he's going after everything. I'm going to bring Mike over to the panel. No, but in all seriousness, the fact that he's going after women and children, and the folks that are the most vulnerable, tells us that that's the testament, that's their blueprint for America. It's not the blueprint that they claimed that they unveiled last year when they said that they wanted to rebrand themselves. You can put all these different stickers and different bumper stickers on here, but as long as you still are going after the most vulnerable, and in this case you're going after women and children, you're telling America what your priorities are. And when you were talking about going after, again, the idea of not having an immigration deal, even though it was passed in the Senate, the fact that we at the same time, they're talking about whether or not equal pay for women is just. The fact that they're talking about they want to eradicate health care, what we're talking about is we're living a seminal moment where we as a country, the majority of Americans, have to unite and make sure that we show up in the polls. So this idea whether Latinos are going to show up in the polls, I'll be honest, we do voter registration, we target American Latino youth. I'm talking to you young people here at the front. It's your responsibility to go home and have conversations with your parents, because they'll listen to you. Don't go shaking your head. No pressure, but it's up to you. And the reason Vote Latino targets American Latino youth is that we recognize that these young people have incredible sway within their families. They are cultural translators, but they also get their parents involved in politics, whether they like it or not, because they are sharing the burden of some very big decisions within their households. So whether or not we get Latinos are going to show up in the polls, we can't blame the president, we can blame Congress. In a very simple way, because they have had legislation sitting on their desk for almost a year. And their failure to pass anything comprehensive is shame on them, but more importantly, shame on us that we're not holding them accountable. What we need to do is continue not only to organize, but more importantly, start having straight talk. The fact that you have 28 members of Congress right now in the House basically holding back immigration reform basically is a testament to folks that saying that they're not being held responsible. These are 28 members of Congress that have safe seats. They have nothing to lose. What is the leadership afraid of? So if you were to ask me what is a legacy that Speaker Boehner can go ahead and put forth, he has two legacies. One, he needs to put forth the Voting Rights Act. We need to pass it, we need to pass it now. And we need to pass immigration reform. Because besides that, and this is one of the issues that people very rarely touch upon when it comes to immigration reform. Yes, without immigration reform, without a pathway to citizenship, we're going to create two different Americas. The problem with that, besides reliving our history, is that every single person of color walking out of this room will always be asked if they're American. Because color, unfortunately, is what shadows this conversation. So unless we're all on board and recognize that not only is it fair to pay equal wages and get these people out of the shadows in order to make sure that all American wages are fair, and unless we want to be able to sleep at night and say, where were we when parents were torn away from their children? There are roughly 7,000 children right now that are put up in foster care who are American kids that have been torn apart because their parents have been deported and their parents can't get them back. So I leave you with this. Yes, it's going to be I more than responded to your question, but I do believe that 2014 is going to be a testament on the Latino vote. But we have to continue giving these individuals hope for tomorrow. And the only way we're going to give them hope to tomorrow to come out to the polls is to have these conversations that elections do work. We wouldn't have the Affordable Care Act without elections. We wouldn't have equal pay without elections. We wouldn't have Pell Grants without elections. Everything right now that our country is fighting for critically is on the table. And we need to make sure that our brothers and sisters in the Latino immigrant communities, Asians, Africans, come out and vote to represent. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to go to our elected officials, state elected officials, and I'll also make a plug that we really need more people to run for office at the state level, the federal level. We need it. We need young people to be involved in that, and it should be on your agenda, because if we don't run, we can't lead the country. And we're very interested in all these issues as well. So I wanted to we're very happy to have the representatives here from Ohio and from Florida. I think the three of them. Representative Reggie Fullwood, the Florida member of the House of Representatives from the 13th District. Representative Alan Williams, member of the Florida House of Representatives, the 8th District, and Representative Alicia Reese, who's a member of the Ohio House of Representatives, the 33rd District. What does 2016, the next national election, look like for people who want to vote? And I'm going to start with Alicia. She will respond. What does it look like? And then others who are also involved in the state legislature, what does it look like on the federal level? And are we going to be able to maintain some of our success on the state level as well? Alicia.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Reverend Sharpton, our national president. I'm pleased to be on the national board of the National Action Network. Excited to be a founding member of the Cincinnati chapter, and I will tell you that the National Action Network is on the front lines as it relates to voting rights. I come from the battleground state, and I want to thank Chris Matthews and MSNBC for getting our message out of what's happening at the ground in Ohio.